Hey there, welcome back. It's just another day. HOA fees are now becoming a hidden mortgage for a lot of homeowners, and so we'll get into that here today. I'll link the article in the description below, so make sure to check that out. So one of the things everyone keeps talking about right now are home fees, mortgage payments, what the costs of houses are, the mortgage rates. What a lot of people don't talk about are HOA fees. More and more communities are being put in where you buy a house, but now you have to also pay an HOA fee. And for a long time, it used to be something that was pretty desirable. It keeps the neighborhoods to a certain standard and maybe takes care of things like the sign out by the front of the community, maybe some street lights, things like that. But one of these things now that's really starting to become more of a concern that sometimes people don't think about is that the HOA fees can really be almost as bad as another mortgage. And so HOA fees or dues are increasingly becoming this shadow mortgage because it kind of creeps in. It's a mandatory ongoing monthly payment, can rise unexpectedly, and in extreme cases put a home at risk of foreclosure. One of the things that I've never really wanted as far as an HOA fee or an HOA in general is you're really limited on what you can do with your own house. It has to look a certain way. A lot of times only approved paint colors can be used for painting your house or anything like that. You can't work on your car out in the driveway. I kind of get some of these things. You don't want things up on blocks for months, but I change my own oil. I do some tasks that sometimes I do in my garage, sometimes I do it in the driveway. It just depends what I feel like. And so a lot of people love them and think that it's great to have this type of community and things managed. But let's talk here about in 2021, a couple bought their townhouse in Rochester, New York, and it had accessibility features and an HOA that handled exterior maintenance. So they took care of what the outside of the house looked like. I'm sure probably the grounds, maybe mowing, things like that. So they're on a fixed income. They budgeted the monthly $235 a month HOA fee. So they figured, okay, this is what it'll be. But over 5 years, their dues jumped over 60% to $385 a month. Doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it's still a 60% increase over what they had specifically budgeted for. They also had two special assessments in 2023, totaling $3,000 to rebuild the HOA's reserve fund and repair the community's aging roofs. This is something that to me is terrifying if you're looking for a condo or a townhome, because it's shared buildings. And if they feel that they need to replace the roof or they need to repair the balconies, things like this, they can just say, well, we don't have the money, so we're going to charge everyone X amount to take care of this. And so these are special assessments. This is absolutely a shadow mortgage. Meleca-Voigt said it's actually worse than a mortgage. If you get a mortgage with a fixed rate, you know what you can pay and you work around it. Unfortunately, what they're finding is a lot of these fees can continue to keep going up. So HOAs can offer real benefits by managing residential communities, maintaining shared spaces with things like pools or gyms, but there's a trade-off. According to Realtor.com, the median HOA fee has risen to $135 per month, up from $125 last year and $108 in 2019. Doesn't sound like a huge amount, and I guess these are normal HOA communities. This rise comes as the number of properties with HOAs is also climbing. Almost 85% of townhomes and condos have HOAs, while a third, 33% of single-family homes do. So we had always thought, someday we'd love to get just like a small cottage at the beach, or a condo or a townhome, and get something, maybe put it on Airbnb and rent it out throughout the year, maybe use it as needed here and there. And so we had looked up and down the Carolinas into Georgia, just looking for some ideas on, hey, this would be a great thing to have. The problem is that insurance and HOA fees have gone up exponentially along the beach. What used to be $200 or $300 a month, that included maybe maintaining the pool, any of the amenities there in the condo complex, maybe a weight room or things like that. They've gone up like crazy. Some of these that used to just be a couple $100 or a few $100 a month, things that we've been watching over the past 4 or 5 years, now they're like $1,200, $1,400, $1,600 a month for these HOA fees. And some of them do include insurance, so a big part of that too is insurance, but it doesn't include the insurance on inside your property. Mainly it's just for the building. So you'd have to have some sort of separate insurance for your own stuff internally on top of that. But it's frightening how quickly it rose. And I always refer to Michael Bordenero in these types of situations. There's another one, Jerry Pincus. He does a lot of videos like this. So both of them have been talking for years, which is one of the reasons we decided to hold off on getting one of these, mainly because they had been warning these fees were going to go up, insurance was going to go up. And what was going to happen is it's going to create problems where you have all these extra monthly payments, but the assessments were coming. If you remember the condo complex that collapsed in Florida a few years back, so a lot of these townhomes and communities are now doing these new assessments to see, okay, do we need to repair these things now? A lot of structural issues. We had looked into several different townhomes that we looked at, and you could tell they were doing some new work and putting new roofs on and balcony reconstruction. Now, some of them look terrible, and honestly, I don't want to be the one on the hook having to pay for that. So that's what happens. You buy into these HOAs, and if you don't do your due diligence, look at meeting minutes, look at their covenant, look at things that are going to put you on the hook for these expenses once you buy. It can really be a huge shock. Some of these people were paying thousands and thousands of dollars per townhome towards these assessments. And so it's something to really take a look at. It's something that's a little bit more accepted than it was maybe 10 to 20 years ago, paying HOA dues every month, says Joel Berner, senior economist at realtor.com. I mean, people are used to it. They want to live in a community that has certain things where they can go to the pool, they can take their kids, maybe they have a rec center, of course, a gym, things like that. He said, as it becomes more common, it's kind of a race to the bottom where one neighborhood can say, well, the neighborhood down the street is charging $200 a month for HOA fees, so we can probably bump ours up a little bit too. That is exactly what we saw. Once a few of these communities started charging more, it was sort of like catching like wildfire. All of a sudden, surrounding townhomes and condo complexes, all of a sudden you started seeing their HOA fees going up. And unfortunately, you can't really track it. It's just kind of firsthand knowledge of what we've been watching and kind of factoring that into our equation of, is this something we want to do? Yeah, we could swing a couple $100 a month, and especially if we were renting it out, that's just, part of the cost of having that. But I'm not going to pay for the mortgage for a condo that used to be $150,000 for the cost of it. Now it's $350,000, $400,000, and on top of that, the HOA fee went up from $300 a month to $1,600 a month, and who knows how much it'll go for above that. And on top of that, oh yeah, we need to replace all the doors or the roof or whatever. Pool needs to be dug up and redone. There's all this stuff that you just sometimes you kind of can see coming, but a lot of the issues now are the structural issues of these complexes that, a lot of them are 50, 75 years old, and which is showing its age, and you're the one on the hook for fixing it. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you have a townhome or a condo, if you've seen your HOA fees go up, if you've had to pay an assessment that was excessive. Just curious to know what some people have had to deal with, and what warnings are for those of you who've been through this. What would you tell other people that are looking to get into an HOA community? I don't find anything appealing to just about any of it. The only thing I would be agreeable to is if they had built in like golf privileges. There are some 55 plus communities that we've looked at. Again, I'm getting up in age. We're looking at those now. So, you know, if there are a few courses and golf dues were included in the HOA fee and it was reasonable, maybe. Again, you really have to think about, you know, what happens when the assessment comes and they want $50,000 or $60,000 per home to take care of whatever they're fixing. So, and it happens. There's a lot of articles that have talked about that. A lot of things Michael Bordenero has talked about over the years. At any rate, thank you again for watching. Please let me know in the comments what you think. And as always, if you don't want to wait for my next video, you can see more videos right up here in the corner. And I'll see you in the next one.